Hi, this is MiniReviewer and these are my thoughts on the Virtual Console and Zelda 2. Many modern gamers have criticised the fact that Nintendo Wii has a very poor choice of games. Most of them are family and party games, or sports titles that star the Nintendo characters, such as Mario and Donkey Kong. And unfortunately, I have to agree with them. However, the Wii does have one feature that I feel fully redeems it, and that is the Virtual Console. The Virtual Console allows you to download hundreds of games from older consoles, including the NES, SNES, Sega Master System, Sega Mega Drive or Genesis, and even Nintendo 64 games, among others. Now, while these games aren't free, and in particular in the PAL region, there aren't as many titles as I would have liked, this feature allows younger gamers to experience classic gaming, which otherwise they would not have access to. I was excited about this, as I am a big Zelda fan, and the only access to the older games that I've had was through the Game Boy Advance Classic series, and the only game from that series that I managed to actually get hold of was Zelda 1, just The Legend of Zelda. So, after procuring an SD card and 2,000 Wii points, I downloaded Super Mario Bros., Donkey Kong Country and Zelda 2, the latter of which I only started playing the other day. Playing Zelda 2 was a real shock to the system, as I had never really realised how much games these days babysit the player. And I don't mean that they look after the children of lazy parents, but they hold your hand throughout most of the story, and even spoon-feed you every piece of information you need, so you rarely have to think for yourself. For example, in Zelda Ocarina of Time, not only did you get a lengthy introduction from the Deku Tree, telling you an in-depth story about the world of Hyrule, but throughout the whole first area, everyone and everything gives you tips and instructions about gameplay, and even after you get into the main quest, you always have Navi to tell you every enemy's weakness and where you have to go. Also, you have maps, so you don't get lost. Whereas in Zelda 2, the attitude is, you've got an instruction manual, what more help do you need? After the introductory text, you're started off in a palace with the sleeping Zelda, with no idea where to go or what to do, leaving it up to you to explore and piece together information from villagers who tell you such interesting facts as I know nothing. And in the later villages, some villagers, when you try to talk to them to find out a bit of information on what you're supposed to do, they turn into enemies and hurt you. This game faced strong criticism from gamers at the time, as it changed a lot of aspects from the first Zelda that provided much of its appeal. Firstly, the top-down view in gameplay was replaced by a side-scrolling view, which was partially the cause of the very high difficulty of the game, as you cannot avoid many enemies, particularly the tough ones, and you can't run behind them and hit their backs. You're forced into face-to-face combat, which can be confusing, as Link holds his shield in front of his body, so when enemies attempt a body hit, your first instinct is to duck. However, if you duck, they hit your head. You're supposed to stay still so that Link can block. To add to this, many enemies can dish out a lot of damage and take many hits before dying. The game also incorporates a feature that is present in many RPGs today, and that's leveling up. Every time you kill a monster, you receive experience points, and the stronger the monster, the more points you get. And you can upgrade your magic bar, your health bar, and the damage dealt out by your sword, which, while it is an interesting feature, leads to tedious level grinding, as whenever you have to continue, after dying just 3 times, your progress towards the next level up is lost, and this will happen time and time again. Another change, although one I don't mind at all, was that Koji Kondo, composer that is responsible for the brilliant soundtracks to the other Zelda games that were made on home consoles rather than portable consoles, was replaced with Akito Nakatsuka. I hope I pronounced those 2 names right. Why isn't this a problem for me, you may ask? Well, while many contemporary gamers resented the change, I feel that the music in Zelda 2 was on par with the other Zelda games and is severely underrated. The only time I've heard it since was the Palace theme, which was remastered in Super Smash Bros. Melee for Link's Adventure. The final nail in the coffin for many gamers was that there was a lot of platform-based gameplay, which was the prime cause of many lives being lost in-game, and causes so much frustration. And I must admit, it does seem very out of place, as in the other games, Link can't even jump. However, that was the fate of many new features of the game. They were ditched in place of more features from the first game, which I suppose is a little disappointing, as Zelda 2, while hard, is not a bad game by any means, and I feel it's treated a bit too harshly by the fans. All in all, I think that Zelda 2 deserves 4 stars and is a solid download from the Virtual Console. With that said, I urge you hardcore gamers out there who are thinking of ditching the Wii in favour of a PS2 or of a PS3 or 360, to at least try out the Virtual Console. Even if you're not a retro games fan, you never know, you just might like it. Thank you. Please rate and comment.